Senator Maggie Hassan endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris as the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee is skeptical Harris could face a major challenge at the Democratic National Convention next month.
I think it's important that people exercise the rights they have under our process. But look, at the end of the day, we have a strong record that President Biden established. That is the work that Vice President Harris is prepared to continue.
DNC committeewoman Joanne Dowdell says the flood of donations spurred by the switch to Harris, $81 million in the last 24 hours, is proof the VP has re-energized the Democratic ticket and is also a warning sign to any other Democrat who might want to seek the nomination.
I think that it's going to be a signal to anyone who might be thinking about it that they might want to think twice.
Governor Chris Sununu, who predicted last year the president would have to stand aside in this race, says there are legitimate concerns about Biden's fitness to continue serving.
I think Joe Biden's a very nice guy. He really is. He's a sweet guy and clearly doesn't understand the situation that he's been in for the last 6 or 7 months. So if anything, I don't think the blame's on him. I think it's around that surrounding team that should have been more honest and been having, more appropriate conversations.
A lot of the Democrats who've been playing defense for President Biden for the last several months are now seemingly very eager to point out that it is the Republican nominee, Donald Trump, who is the oldest candidate in this race at 78. Vice President Harris nearly 2 decades younger than him, Steve.
All right, so Adam, it was back in 2019, I guess it would have been, that we saw Harris here in New Hampshire campaigning. What can we glean from anything, if at all, about what to expect of her in this cycle?
Obviously a very difficult and unsuccessful New Hampshire primary for here in 2019 for Harris in New Hampshire, Steve. Even though she had appeared to have a pretty solid reservoir of support, but this is a very different race that she's in right now. It's not retail campaigning, it's TV ads, it's big speeches, it's rallies, much more similar to the U.S. Senate race she won in California in 2016.